Power Up is the much anticipated new album from AC/DC, who in fact have been teasing this one for a while. But does it live up to the hype? Let's find out, shall we? Welcome classic rock fans to an episode of New Album Review, new albums are excavated and explored. Today we're looking at the brand new album by AC/DC. The motto for this album is, if it ain't broke, why fix it? It's replete with their signature sound, full of those AC/DC muscular motifs that will be familiar to old fans and new fans alike. Brian Johnson told NME that this record just brings across the sheer power of rock and roll. I must admit I was overjoyed to see some of the promotional material that was released for this album. I love that image of the band as it is now, with those stenciled letters above it, Power Up. It was very much a very bold statement for a bold album. If Back in Black, that hard rock cultural cornerstone, is a powerful eulogy to Bon Scott, the same very much could be said of this album. This has Malcolm's dabs all over it. He doesn't actually appear on the album, of course, but his spirit looms large. In fact, he gets a songwriting credit on most of the songs, if not all the songs on this record. Usually when these classic rock bands manage to haul their carcasses into these studios and bless us with this new offering, we have to put up with those old adages like it's the best thing they've ever done and it's a real return to form. But bollocks, I have to admit that those old chestnuts are quite applicable here. It really is a great, great album. In fact, it was even described as rollicking by NME. It's certainly one of their better later albums, especially after the disappointing Rock or Bust. It's on this record they demonstrate they haven't changed one molecule of who and what they are. The first song we heard of this album, Shot in the Dark, it starts off with that beautiful blues-inflected guitar, before the rhythm section adds some real ballast, providing the ideal platform for Brian Johnson's familiar tubercular rasp. His voice is helped with a little bit of double tracking here and there, but it's melodic, testosterone-fueled fare. A familiar AC/DC topography is surveyed here before we get that wonderful Angus guitar solo, which to me sounds a little bit like the solo in Shot Down in Flames. That's probably just me though. And we got those wonderful buzzsaw sounding guitars. In fact, to stick with that analogy, one critic has written, AC/DC sound like lumberjacks trying to make music through heavy machinery. A shot in the dark makes you feel alright, sings Johnson, and he's not far wrong. The album kicks off with the song Realise, and what an opener. It immediately sets the tone for the rest of the record. I love the line, the moment you realise those moments just pass you by. It's a song with real depth to it in that respect, as well as being an absolutely pummelling number. Theodore Roosevelt famously said, if you've got them by their balls, their hearts and minds are sure to follow. And this is certainly engaging stuff. I think this is AC/DC at their best. It's primal, no-nonsense, feral rock and roll. And it does exactly what it says on the tin. I mean, let's face it, this band aren't out to save the world. They're not interested in waxing lyrical on the philosophical and political conundrums of the day. They just hit you with a full-throttled oral assault. The guitar sound is crunching and metallic, and Brian Johnson sounds absolutely wonderful, that fabulous rasping voice, like somebody sanding down old furniture. Considering the health problems that this guy has incurred over the last few years, I'm just flabbergasted that he actually sounds as good as he does. But it's comforting to know that full throttle shrieking rasp of his is in full vigour. You know, a shout out has to go to the rhythm section as well, because he's accompanied by Rudd's typical bludgeoning and unembellished drum style. I mean, there's no fills or rolls, but he's just on the money every time. The second song is Rejection, in which Johnson claims that this band still take what they want. It seems to be a song that's very much aimed at a lot of the negativity that's surrounded them over the last few years, all the critics and naysayers. It's a huge statement, a manifesto and a declaration of this band's return, a band that definitely have a score to settle. It has to be said that one of my favourite tracks on this album is Through the Mists of Time. It has a nostalgic, almost wistful quality to it. It's a measured reflection of a veteran rock outfit looking back, I think. I mean, lyrics like, see dark shadows on the wall, see the pictures, some hang, some fall. Kick You When You're Down has a bluesy swagger to it, a really chunky, layered riff. I don't know if it's just me, but I detect something of Keith Richards' drawl and sway when I listen to this one. And Would You Spell is just old school hard rock with a almost dirty, sort of threatening edge to it that very much brings to mind some of those early Bond numbers. Demon Fire is like ZZ Top on Benny's, and of course we get a lovely car in the video as well. I love that gorgeous descending blues riff before Johnson's lascivious drawl comes into the number. Demon Fire is all you desire, Johnson screeches in this frenzied number, which is very much like all the songs in this album, it's a testament to the wonderful rhythm section provided by Rudd, Williams and Young, of course. I mean, the rhythm section has a real groove and purpose on this record. It's like a solid granite platform for Angus on which to do his wonderful, famous duck walk. We also get some real raunch with songs like Money Shot. The clue is very much in the title here. Lyrics like, "Lady, just try the money shot, best taken when hot." Excellent. You can just imagine Jermaine Greer frothing at the gills at this one. Brian Johnson recently told NME that woke just is not part of this band's vocabulary, and thank heavens for that. We also get some tracks that have a real southern rock swagger to them. Songs like, Wild Reputation, which has a groove that's been described as bone deep by one critic, I can't remember which one. And No Man's Land is a great one. It perfectly evokes that parched landscape. If I'm not mistaken, I've only given it one listen, but I think this is the one where Brian Johnson evokes that image of him as some sort of Wild West desperado. Systems Down is Angus completely unleashed, and of course it all wraps up with Code Red, which is full of fire and vigour. I think this is such a strong number that this could have easily been lifted off one of those early Johnson albums like For Those About to Rock or even Back in Black. And this album sounds wonderful as well, and that's very much down to the production nous of Brendan O'Brien and engineer Mike Fraser, of course, who've done a wonderful job on this. Obviously they were behind Rock or Bust and I think 2008's Black Ice as well. But it's just what they've done is they've managed to translate and communicate that feral energy of this band in a totally unaffected manner. It feels very raw and very natural. This is probably the finest album since For Those About to Rock and Flick the Switch. It's a towering monument to the legacy of this band. A celebration of pure, unbridled hard rock. I think it's fair to say that Malcolm would be proud to put his name to this one. Anyway, let me know what you think of this album. Hopefully the physical copy will be arriving later. I thought it was absolutely fabulous. It just leaves me to say thank you for watching. Do click like, subscribe and check that bell to get notified of any future uploads. And for ways you can support me in the work that goes into Classic Album Review, do check out some of the links below. It just leaves me to say thank you for watching. Hope you're staying safe. But more importantly, please do keep listening.